Moses Boldu joining me on the desk for a first look at sports. Now, Lloydminster Bobcats having a season they definitely do not want to remember.
No, you know what? If there's one word that could sum it up, it's change. If you look at the season from last year to this year, big drastic change with the roster, wins, etc. It's been very tough, and you might call it a roller coaster year for the Lloydminster Bobcats. After finishing with one of the best seasons in franchise history, the team was swept in the first round of the playoffs. Shortly after that, former bench boss Brian Curran left the team to sign with the Drumheller Dragons. Ryan Parent was then announced as the new head coach in April, and in his first season with the Cats, it hasn't gone according to plan. Matt Schumont has a chance to sit down with Ryan Parent to get his thoughts on 2012.
All right, I'm joined with head coach and general manager of the Bobcats, Ryan Parent. Thanks for coming in and doing this with us.
No, you betcha, Matt.
Okay, we'll just start at the very beginning. When you signed with the Bobcats, just talk about making the signing and coming to Lloyd and becoming a head coach in the AJHL.
Well, I mean, I think I was, the opportunity, a prospective opportunity to take on a team at this level. I think it was a no-brainer. Obviously, I left a good job, and to take it, and so I'm glad I'm happy about the decision, and I think where we've come, from then to now. I mean, logging 16-hour days in a cubicle, recruiting players. I mean, we recruited a lot of bodies to come in this year, and I think that the foundation is there, or we're getting to that foundation point, and I mean, we're going to be taking more steps yet as a part of our plan, but where we're at right now is just putting a foothold on where are we going to be in the second half and where are we going to be in next year.
Okay, now we'll just kind of talk about the beginning of the season. Obviously, it wasn't the start you're hoping for, but looking at the schedule and the stats, you've been involved in 19 one-goal games. So it's not like you've been getting blown out of the water. It's just those one-goal games have been kind of hurting you guys this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're beyond that now. I mean, we're looking at smaller goals. I think right now is, how are we going to, compete on the road? For example, we had a 5-game, 4 games where we didn't compete hard on the road, and so that's something that we're looking at adjusting here through the next week.
Now, you said GMing comes with a lot of recruiting. You also been making a lot of trades. Now, was this something coming in that you wanted to do, or is it just something that just kind of happened?
I think by the time you really know what you have, I think you're 4 months in. I think as a manager of anything, I don't think you could take over any company or any situation where you're coming into a new field with new faces. I mean, I don't think you really know until you're 4 months in. And once that 4-month setting is kind of passed, I think you know who your guys are, you know who your personnel are, you know the adjustments you need to make to be successful. And we made some of those adjustments, and early on, and we made some mid-season adjustments, and I think we'll see some more yet.
Okay, now with well over 20-some games left in the season, what kind of team can we see in 2013?
Well, I think what we're looking at right now is okay, in the next week, what do we want? We want to have a good punch, going into the break, and then after the break, I think it's again, blocking it off, blocking our season down into 3-4 game segments, and trying to get into the playoff hunt there.
All right, thanks a lot, Matt, and thanks a lot to Ryan Parent there. The Bobcats have a tough test coming up. 3 games in 3 days starting tonight against Brooks, a team that's 34-1. To put that in perspective, the Cats have less points than the Bandits have wins. They just have 27 points so far. 7 p.m. puck drop for that. Meanwhile, a little closer to home, the Lloydminster Bandits have won 2 in a row, looking to make it 3 in a row tonight against the Vegreville Rangers, 7:30 at the Civic Center. 2012 was an up-and-down year for the Bonnyville Pontiacs. The team lost 9 of its last 10 to limp into the playoffs last February, to sitting atop of the AJHL standings after the first month of the 2012-13 season. It has also been a year of change for the club, with the new assistant GM and associate coach, and the mid-season addition of NHLer Mark Letestu to the coaching staff. Clayton Brown sat down with head coach Chad Mercier to talk about the year that was.
The first 2 months of 2012 weren't kind to Chad Mercier and his Bonnyville Pontiacs. Injuries plagued the team as they stumbled into the playoffs on one of the worst losing streaks in Pontiac's recent history.
We were on pace to break win records, point records, up until, like you say, our last, I think we were 2-9-2 or something like that in our last 13 games. And so, you know, I think a lot of factors played into that, but certainly very disappointing. We ended up going to fifth and final game of the first round. You know, probably played our worst game of the series in that game. Unfortunately, got behind 3-0 and just couldn't come back. I thought once we got down 3-0, I thought we played extremely well. We just dug ourselves too big of a hole.
The disappointing end to the 2011-2012 campaign left a bitter taste with fans, the organization, and the players. But Mercier says there was a lot to take from the end of the season to build on.
The guys are in the room. It's a good learning experience for. One, don't take anything for granted. We were having a season last year that, like I say, was going to be the best, or going to be, we were on pace for the best all time in franchise history. Ran into a ton of injuries, ran into some different things, got away from some things, and then we got into playoffs, and I believe by game 2 we were down 4 defensemen. And you know, so you don't take anything for granted, and you make sure that you take advantage when you have a chance.
During the offseason, Mercier was even busier than usual with the departure of assistant GM and associate coach Ryan Pollock. But the Pontiac's GM was quick to find a replacement, naming Rick Swan to the position.
He's got a lot of experience, not only as a player, but also you know, as a coach, and he's been able to jump in feet first and really get into it. And I think the biggest change is there's 2 separate personalities between Rick and I, and having some of his own ideas and ways that he does things, and having a different approach. The message is the same, but maybe a different approach, I think, has also been a very good thing.
Swan isn't the only new face behind the bench, though. While the NHL lockout has created sheer frustration among most hockey fans, Bonnyville has been able to take advantage of the situation as former star Pontiac and current Columbus Blue Jacket Mark Letestu joined the coaching staff.
Arguably, he's the face of this franchise, and I think individually for the players, for him to send the message to make them understand that how difficult this game can be every day. You know, just learn how to roll with it and learn how to enjoy that part of it, and instead of fret over it, I guess, and just be prepared to be at your best every day, and that's the expectation. He certainly have helped our individual players understand that that's the way the game is, and I think he's made a big impact in the short time that he's been here.
The Pontiacs are sitting second in the North Division and third in the AJHL as they head into 2013. But Mercier knows there's things they need to work on in the new year if they want to stay near the top.
We need to improve on defending, and I believe that's the area of the hockey club that we got to defend them, or improve the most on. And I think once we improve our defending and make more of a team effort and picking our pace up every shift and doing our jobs, I think you're going to see our offensive production pick up. And we've shown the ability to win a lot of one-goal hockey games, which come playoff time is a huge bonus.
In Bonnyville, Clayton Brown, Newcap Sports.